fiber friends, my name is Gina and you are watching the Fairydust Crafts podcast. You can find me on Instagram at FairydustKnits as well as on Ravelry under the same Fairydust Knits handle. I am talking everything crafty over here. I am first and foremost a knitter. Socks are my passion, so you'll be seeing lots and lots of socks over here. But I started kind of like dabbling back into crochet, so you'll see the odd crochet item every once in a while over here. But it's mostly knitting and for the most part socks. I went on a journey last year. For all of you guys who are new over here, I went on a journey to catalog all of my WIPs, my works in progress, my unfinished objects, and I am on a mission to finish all of my WIPs. So far I am, what is it, like about 6 months in or so, and I'm not doing so well. I keep casting on new projects, which is awesome. I can like show you guys new stuff, but I keep casting on new stuff. But yes, I have one thing to show you that is finally washed and blocked. It's one of my like quite long-term, one of my longer term WIPs that I've been working on, so I'll show you that. I'm just gonna show you like if I have finished objects, so today I have the one, or if I have like WIPs that I'm working on, I'm just gonna show you all of these guys. That's my main part of the podcast. Every so often I will throw in just little bits and pieces of what else I'm working on. I did a Throw Thursday a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, and I really enjoyed doing that, so I will come back with kind of like more thematic and shorter versions of the podcast. And then I have also been working on tutorials. I like teaching people new things, maybe new techniques. So I've been working on that, kind of like tutorials in terms of like how to knit, how I knit, how you can like approach certain projects. But also just like little tidbits, I'm gonna call them Tip Tuesday, where I just show you guys how I handle, for example, the bulk of all my WIPs, or I will have one coming up with my favorite sock yarns. I've been wanting to do that for a little while because people always ask me, but what kind of sock yarns do you use? What's your favorites? So I do have like a handful of favorites. I don't know how many I'm gonna pick yet. Maybe I'll do like 5 and kind of like go from there, because I definitely do have my favorites. And like whatever other like little things I can think of that may be like nice to know, or even just to engage in a dialogue over here too. So if you guys have any input at all, or if you want to learn a new thing, any questions that you would like to ask me, just put them down below in the comments, or you can also contact me on Instagram. But yeah, I have my notes over here kind of with what I'm working on. I literally have my Ravelry page open. This is my Ravelry Project Page, is probably my most visited website that I use, and I highly recommend if you're like a knitter who knits a lot and uses Ravelry. I have been really like making it a thing of logging everything into my project page. So if you guys like see me showing a certain project and you're like, but what kind of yarn was she using? She said she changed her needle size. What was that again? You can find all of that in my Ravelry project page. If you cannot find it, let me know so I can update my notes, because sometimes I just forget about it. And especially with all of my older WIPs, I don't have all of those on there. And as I pick them up and work on them again and kind of like update them, I will also start updating my page again. Because I've only been doing that for so long. My main method of keeping track and everything, and like, you know, writing everything down is like an actual notebook. So yeah, if you have any questions at all, you can find all of the links down below in show notes. Yes, show notes is what we call that. Otherwise, let's just dive into, well, actually, no, not works in progress. Let's start with my FO, my finished object. I have had like half of this done for so long, and then just like I put it down because honestly, I got a little tired with it, because it's like it's engaging enough for your brain, but it's not like something crazy. So I put it down for a while, and then I finished it within 2 sittings, like 2 days. And then it took me like 3 weeks to block it, to wash and block it. Longer. I'm pretty sure I finished this like a long time ago, and I just never really blocked it. So it's the Sophie shawl, and I'm just like consulting my, yes, I completed this on November 13th of 2023, last year. And I washed it last weekend, like a weekend ago, like a week ago. So it is pretty big. It's the Sophie shawl. So it's like the large version of her, of PetiteKnit's, a very popular Sophie scarf. So the Sophie scarf is like tiny. You've seen me making those. I like have one of those on the go every once in a while. It's one of my most favorite things to gift. Like, Sophie scarves are so cute. So this is literally gigantic. Like, you can, it's actually, no, it's not too bad. I have like a cat back here doing dumb things. But yeah, it's not too terrible, but I really like it. This goes really well with my jacket. That's the main reason why I picked this color. My jacket is like a very light mint version of this teal, so I was like, oh, I like the darker teal, will go really well with it, and I like it. I want to make more of these. I want to make one in either black or like a dark charcoaly kind of color, and really make it the large oversized version. Mette at PetiteKnit has 3 different sizes for this, and in one of her pictures, I think it's like the main picture, she wears this brown version of it. She also uses cashmere. I wish I could make one of these in cashmere, but it uses a lot of yarn, and I'd rather make myself a sweater out of cashmere, or like a tank top, something like that, not a shawl like this. So this is gigantic. It took, I don't actually quite know how much yarn it used. I used Katia Merino Aran in the color teal. It is thicker than what the pattern calls for. The pattern calls for a worsted weight yarn, and as I said, I used a Aran weight, so it's quite a bit thicker and squishier. So I just used up like literally a scrap that I had left over from a I think it was a sweater or a cardigan. No, it was a sweater. I did a cardigan in the same yarn, but kind of like a color like this. You've seen me wear that. I wear it like fairly often at home. And then this is like the teal version. I really like this, and I am very sure that I'll be wearing this until it's too warm to be wearing like thick shawls like this. So yeah, I have no idea when I started it. I will have to go and look at my older notebooks, but I wouldn't be surprised if I started this in like late 2022. And as I said earlier, I finished it on November 13th of 2023. So this was one of my long-term whips, and I'm very happy that I have one down. You saw it in my, I think it was my first, yes, it was my first podcast coming back after Christmas and winter holidays. I inventoried all of my whips for the new year, and I have like a list also here on my iPad. I've just been keeping everything right here. So I have like a lot of whips going. I like pull one out and I will really think about, do I really want to finish this or do I just want to frog it? And I'm at a point where a few of them I just want to frog. Like I have absolutely no problems ripping it all out and then using that yarn for something that's maybe a little closer to what I would enjoy wearing now. For the most part though, I'm just, don't want to say I'm over garments because I really love wearing knitwear. So I will continue making garments and I will finish obviously the garments that I have, but my main squeeze are socks and I need to like steer myself back into that. Having said that, I have, as you guys all know, I subscribe to the Yarnable yarn subscription box, where you get a skein of yarn every month shipped to you, and then it has like little extras and stuff in them. And my goal was, when I signed up for this, to really make a pair of socks every month with just using that yarn. So this is January. The yarn is called How Time Flies, is hypnotic yarn on their plush sock base. I just love this color. I think it's so beautiful. Totally up my alley. All of these socks are for myself. And for the most part, I thought I did like one or two of them I did with like a pattern, and then I always come back to vanilla socks because that's just what I wear. So I thought I'm just gonna stick to vanilla socks unless the yarn really tells me that it wants to be a certain pattern. But it's just gonna be vanilla socks. This here actually it is a vanilla sock, but it has a little bit of a different heel. And let me see if I can show you this. So it looks kind of funny because it's not blocked, but this is the heel. Like it looks really cool. This is, the pattern's called Vanilla is the New Black by Anneh Fletcher. And I think these are so cool. So I'm gonna see how this heel actually fits me. I've had some issues here with holes, kind of like where the heel ends, so where like the short rows end. You do this like really cool increase heel here down the back. So this is just increases really. And then you do a heel turn, just like normal with a heel flap and gusset. You do like your heel turn, but it's a touch larger because you'll end up with more stitches here. So it's like a little different than doing a heel flap and gusset. So I noticed that I've got these like odd little holes. I don't know if you can tell, there's like holes in here. And I will just go in with a little bit of scrap yarn and fix that because I know that's going to bother me. For this sock, for myself, I knit the smallest size, 60 stitches on a 2.5 millimeter US 2, is that right? US 1.5, 2.5 millimeter Gu 9-inch circulars. Those are kind of like what I prefer. It's my preferred method of knitting socks right now. I kind of like switch back and forth between small circulars and DPNs. Just kind of like depends on how I feel. But this is kind of like my preferred thing. And I picked up a crochet scarf. and crochet, and with a, I think I'm using a 5.5mm crochet hook for that, and crochet hurts my wrists. Like, that's just a thing. I know that that is its thing, and I love the pattern. It's so cool. But unfortunately it is the, like, what's it called, like the bubble stitch, that just with the big hook hurts my hands. Anything that's larger, like whenever I use, even when I use like a larger knitting needle, anything larger than like 6mm hurts my wrists, and I have to take more breaks. And I guess I just did not take enough breaks, because I could not knit for like a good week. It started like radiating out into my elbow, and like really hurting like half my, like pretty much all of my arm actually. So that wasn't so fun. So I'm still working on that. I'm only knitting so much, and then I take breaks. So it's a little slower going, and that kind of like discouraged me from filming too. I was like, I don't really want to, just because I wasn't feeling it. And then the other reason is I have quit one of my day jobs. For those of you guys who have been around here for a while, I used to work 2 day jobs. I work at my local yarn shop, and I also had an office job, and I was getting a little too overwhelmed with everything. 2024 is the year of gearing down a little bit. I will be a little more present. Well, that was the thing too. I was gonna be more present here, and then I started doing inventory for taxes and all of that, because I do have to inventory all of my yarn, and I have not been good at it all year last year, so now I'm kind of like starting from scratch again. But yeah, that's like all of that together, like just being really crazy busy. That's the reason why you haven't seen me in a couple weeks. Yeah, anyways, back to knitting. This is my January sock number 1, and it is, what did I say the date was today? The 29th. So I only have like 2 more days to finish a full pair of socks. Like, this is just, I'm at on my like foot now, so I could easily finish this probably tonight or tomorrow, probably more like tomorrow. It's pretty late already. But there's no way I can knit a full sock, a big sock, tall sock like this in what, like a day and a half. That's not, or a day, I guess. That's not gonna happen. So I'm already late with my first pair of yarnable socks, but that's okay. I'm just gonna roll with it. I've been really enjoying this yarn. I did take a break from sock knitting completely for like almost 3 weeks now, just because my wrist has been bothering me, and today was the first day when I did like, I think I did like 20 rounds on this earlier today. So far my wrist, knock on wood, is still doing okay, so I'll just keep going little by little. What I have been working on, and if you follow me on Instagram, I hope you're not sick of this, I have been working on a blanket. Move all of these things around, and I think Molly wants to come say hello. Are you gonna come back? She's like bouncing off the walls today. So I have 1, 2, 3 blankets I'm gonna show you today. This is Molly's tail. One of them is the one, like, if you are following me on Instagram, you will see me doing 30 minutes of knitting every day. For the most part, I gotta be completely transparent here, I very often do more than just 30 minutes. I can do about 2 rounds ish, maybe a round and 3/4 in 30 minutes. I did time myself and actually like counted those stitches, and I get just over 1,000 stitches in 30 minutes. So it's not a lot. That's not even 2 full rounds what I'm working on. This is my Avent Anthology Throw. So I am using, I'm gonna make sure that I don't lose any needles. I'm using Ginger Snaps Advent Calendar. And it looks really weird because it is a round throw and it is knit in the round. Don't steal things. No stealing things. She's a little thief. Yeah, so I've gone through, I love all of these colors. We started with like a blue and then went into purple and kind of like these dusty rose and grays, and now we are moving into the greens, and the greens are really, really cool. If you watched my Advent vlog at all, Vlogmas is what we called it. If you watched Vlogmas at all last December, you have seen me unwrapping all of these little mini skeins. And what I did is little organization tip here for all of your mini skeins. So I have everything in a basket like this guy here. I have organized all of these. I'm knitting them in order, so I'm not changing anything about like the order of the skeins themselves. But I did string them all up on just like, it's just like our random scrap yarn. So this is the order that I opened all of those little Advents. So we are now heading into the greens, a little bit of blues, and then the reds. I am so excited. I absolutely love the way this is turning out. It's so squishy and soft. And I just think I am, yes, I just started with this, it's like a white with like green, neon green speckles. So that's what I've been working on every single night since January 1st. I think I did start a little earlier. I want to say when I started, I was, yes, so on January 1st, I was where this little stitch marker here, this mushroom is hiding. So this is where January 1st started, and I got quite some progress. I did the math at one point, and I did not write it down, obviously, but I did the math at one point. If I keep going and I just do like 2 rounds with my current stitch count, and then once we double that stitch count, I'm just going to do 1 every day. I should be done roughly by like the end of March, knock on wood. And I decided that I'm probably gonna bind off in a different color, like something completely different, and I'm thinking probably black, or like a dark charcoal, but like a really dark color. So that's what I've been working on. That's kind of like my main project. And I have, obviously, for like all, those are all 20-gram minis, and there's like the tiniest little leftover. So I'm working on a second blanket. So there's always the tiniest little leftover. Some of them are a little smaller, like these guys. Some of them are a little larger. This was the last one. So what I've been doing, and I've been wanting to do this, I think I've talked about this. I have started with something like this, like probably 2 or 3 years ago, maybe, I don't know, like doing a kind of like a memory blanket, where I knit a square, and like a tiny little square for every single sock that I've made. I started doing that, and it kind of like just trickled off. I wasn't really feeling it, so I pulled it back out. I believe I pulled it back out. I may have just stolen, I'm like looking over here to see if it's somewhere on my cart, but I can't see it. it may still exist somewhere, but I only had like 5 or 6 little squares. They were much smaller than these ones. This is the Coziest Memory blanket by Kemper Wray. And so far I started with all of the little leftovers that I have left over from my Advent blanket, from my Advent Anthology Throw. I also started putting in leftovers from my sock yarns, for my socks. So these were my Christmas socks. I started a little earlier. At first I was like, oh, shall I start with the Advent one and then keep adding with my socks in 2024, but then I thought I'm just gonna, because this is Advent, with all of the Advent socks that I am gonna finish, I'm just gonna put a little square of those in here too. So far it is what, 8 squares that I have, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this one is not quite done yet. This is a lot of fun. I've actually really been enjoying this. This is such a great way to still keep your mind engaged, but not having like anything too big or too crazy or complicated. I've been just enjoying this, and I love seeing it all come together. And I have, so this is right now the whole blanket lives in this Ziploc bag, but I'm just putting like all of my leftover yarns that I have in this Ziploc bag. And then once I have a minute, I'm just gonna sit down. I think I'm just gonna do this on Scrappy Sundays. I'm just gonna sit down and put in like 1 or 2 squares a day. So I'm not in like a big rush. Sorry, dropped my needle there. I'm not in a big rush because I know that like I only finished so many socks, and once I have a sock done and I'm all caught up with my Advent minis here, I can just keep going and do them one by one. I am using a 2.75 millimeter needle, and these are brand new. I finally did it. These are Ancient Needle Arts. They are so beautiful. They are, I think they're carbon, not quite sure. But they are so lightweight. This tip is like the, oh god, my nails are so bad. This is like the craziest tip I've ever worked with. Like, you could probably stab somebody with these. They sit beautifully in my hand. They're absolutely gorgeous. I have 2 sets of single point needles. These ones are the 2.75 because that's what I use for my blankets. And I also got a 3 millimeter, I think these are like 10-inch, and then there is the longer 12-inch ones. I think I got 12 or 14 in a 3 millimeter for like DK weight blankets. But I love these. I absolutely love working with these. Unfortunately, these are made in the States. So unfortunately they are going out of business, and I got them on sale. There's only like so many options left. They're just like selling whatever they have. I think they put everything else like on a bigger sale again. But they will just have needles until they're out, and then that's it. It's very sad to see like companies like this go. They have been making knitting needles for I don't know how long, and this is unfortunately it for Ancient Needle Arts. So I was really excited when I picked those up. That's kind of like, that's a big splurge for me, and I had to import them, so I had to pay taxes and duty on them. So they're not cheap. They're definitely like, you know, up here you have like your regular needle, your like budget needle somewhere down there, and then your regular needles and handmade in the USA. So yeah, I'm very excited that I got to splurge on a pair of those. I am not buying any more new yarn. Well, no, I don't want to say that. I'm still like obviously getting my Yarnable subscriptions, and like other yarns, but I want to do a net zero stash this year, and ideally the goal actually like would be to reduce my stash, and I've been doing okay on it. I have to, so I'm gonna sit down on February 1st and have a look at what's come in and what's gone out. I did buy yarn for a year-long blanket project and I obviously, so I've already like used up my January portion, but right now, so I buy them in threes. So they come in a pack of 3 basically. You buy like 3 months ahead of time. And I have January right here, and then February and March, and on I believe March 1st we buy like April, May, June. So obviously that's quite a bit of yarn coming in, and the first pack that I got came with 2 solids. It's just undyed solids, and I'm not quite sure if I'm going to use those, but for now I just stashed them. I got a cat here right behind me. Okay, now so this is by Polka Dot Creek, and it is the 2024 Blanket Club, Polka Dot Creek Blanket Club from 2024. So you get 10-gram minis, 9 of them, and there is like an actual blanket that's suggested, or that's like the yarn has a purpose, and it is like very specific blanket. But I'm taking a little bit of a different route here. So I decided, where is my top and where's my bottom? I think it goes like this. Yes. Okay, so this is my January. 4, 5, 6, no, this is not right. I think it goes like this. Yes, it goes like this. Okay. It doesn't really matter, because in the end it's all gonna be like one big blanket. So this is January. It is 4 or 9 different squares, and so like 9 10-gram minis is what's in a pack or like in a bundle. I think I've talked about this, I'm not quite sure, but because it is the last podcast in January, I'm just gonna show you my update, and I'm gonna do this every last podcast of the month. I'm just going to show you where I'm at, what it looks like. But I decided to do again a Coziest memory blanket by Kemper Wray, and what I'm going to do is I mapped the whole thing out instead of what like the actual suggested blanket is. It's just like 9 or like 3 by 3 squares that are surrounded by a border, and then they're like, I think, sewn together probably. So I decided not to do that. I decided to kind of like go my own way and do something a little different, because I don't really like the layout of that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a rectangular blanket. So this is what it's gonna look like eventually. So that's kind of like my map. We are right here and did January, and then I'm just gonna add to it like so. So it's kind of like a scrappy blanket-ish. This is how I take all my notes and how I like put everything into my notebook. So I like take pictures, and I put like little scraps of yarn in there, and I have all my notes and everything. I am going to do a how I take my notes special, just something like super quick, just so you guys can see my notebook. But yeah, so I have for this here, I've already used 450 yards ish, because that's how much like these guys are. Of course, I have leftovers again. Not a lot, they're just tiny little balls. So what I'm gonna do with that is, I believe I'm just gonna turn those into like scrappy mittens or something like that, and just kind of like use them up. That's been really my thing in the last little bit, is use up every little scrap that I have. And so for my Anthology Throw, I have leftovers, and those leftovers go into my Coziest memories. And I still have leftovers. Like, I literally, my leftovers have leftovers. And I need to use all of these up. I think I'm just probably just gonna put them either, because they like look really nice together. Maybe I'll just put them in like scrappy mittens or scrappy socks, something like that, because I don't want any more scraps anymore. That's kind of like, it's my whips need to be gone and my scraps need to be gone, and I want to use them all up as I go, so they're really like gone. So if you guys have any more like scrappy ideas, I do make like those crochet baskets every once in a while. Those are really great to use up scraps, but I think maybe I'm just gonna like finally dip into scrappy mittens and scrappy socks. I think that's a great idea. Because then I do what I want to do. As I said, crocheting really like hurts my wrist, so I don't want to do too much of that. But yeah, I'm like, can I do more scrappy blankets? Like the scrappiest of all scrappy blankets? I don't know. Do I really want to do that? How many blankets do I need? I don't know. All of these questions, right? But yeah, that's all I've been working on in the last couple weeks, really. Like these 3 blankets, 2, well, a bit, really. That's been my focus. I did cast on a new cardigan, but I only have like a tiny little bit so far. So I'm gonna work a little more on that until I show you. I still have not finished my November cardigan, but I'm kind of like slowly but surely chopping away at it. I've been doing like, you know, 5 rounds here and there on my sleeve, so it's gonna be done eventually, probably in time for summer, so who knows. But anyways, yeah, I think this was a great update just to kind of like keep you posted. I'm still here and I'm filming and crafting and doing a lot of stuff kind of like in the background, and then I just, like time just flew by, and all of a sudden it's like 2 weeks later, like what's happened? Yeah, so this little kitty cat that's like sleeping right beside me here, and we're gonna go prepare some dinner and do some more knitting. I hope to see you guys all very soon here, and in the meantime, I wish you happy crafting. Bye!